Hey, thanks for coming back to the channel. This is going to be kind of a summary regarding the U.S. Supreme Court's recent decisions, especially the impact of the Chevron decision. That is, the Supreme Court did away with the Chevron deference um, uh, discipline or doctrine that the courts have been going for about 40 years. That was major, and I'm going to talk about why that's going to be very dangerous for Trump should he become elected president. I'll explain why in a bit. But to be clear, the Supreme Court of this country, anyway, the Supreme Court of the United States does not make law. They never have. They cannot legislate from the bench. That's some marketing jargon, propaganda crap that both parties, everybody uses when they don't get the decisions they like from the Supreme Court. So if they didn't get the decision, they're like, well, they're not giving me the law. They're looking at the Supreme Court as some magic creation of law. They don't do that. They tell us what the law is only after responding to lawsuits, which are part of our judicial system. So, no, the U.S. Supreme Court doesn't make up anything. There's another message coming out that says, well, the Supreme Court with overturning the Chevron doctrine, that somehow the Supreme Court is taking power away from the executive. Well, meaning the presidency. Presidency owns all of the 400 and some odd bureaucrats that the Chevron doctrine affected. So the Supreme Court isn't taking away any power for itself. It cannot do that. What it did do is remove power that shouldn't have been there in the first place from the executive, meaning the presidency. Here's a classic example, the Las Vegas shooting on Trump's watch. And long story short, yelling, screaming, people dead, blah, blah, ban bump stocks, evil, blah, blah. Trump, in his style, says, well, make it so. We're going to ban bump stocks, right? That's a problem for him, that he can just declare something and have it happen. Well, he knew he couldn't go to Congress and get jack to happen because Congress is gridlocked, fortunately, and they're not going to do any federal firearms, anything anymore. The Democrats are going to keep slamming them through, trying to get something on the books, but that's not going to happen. So instead, and Trump knew he couldn't get it from the legislature, that was not even possible. He said, well, shoot, I own Department of Justice. I own the ATF. So he goes to the ATF and says, ban bump stocks. Because he can do that. And his little minion said, okay. And the process of saying okay, they now entered the world of the Chevron doctrine. They said, well, the law as written by Congress, we're going to change some words. Literally, we're going to change some words. We're going to change the meaning of some things. This is the agency. And then we're going to come up with a new law, and it's going to ban bump stocks. And they use the same idea for all the other things that the ATF has tried to ban in the last couple of years. Now, the ATF lost that fight, and in the effort of losing the fight, Chevron deference was killed. So what does that really mean? Well, it means that, this is my opinion, right? It means that we're going to have fewer laws written by Congress because the elimination of the Chevron doctrine puts the responsibility of clarity back to the legislature and takes trying to find clarity away from an agency. It's as simple as that. because the agencies were filling in the gaps, right? Filling in the gaps of we're not sure it's clear. Is there ambiguity? Well, now the legislature is going to have to pass unambiguous laws to the greatest degree possible, or not pass a law at all. I'm down with that. We don't need any more laws. We got enough. So that's the status of the U.S. Supreme Court right now. Now, let me tell you why I think that's going to jam up Trump if he is elected president. He has not, the leopard doesn't change his spots. He has not changed who he is. He has not changed his character. He has not changed his character. He is the same person, if he gets elected again, that was there the last time. He's the same one that says, if I tell you to do something, if I tell you to go do something, you got to do it. I don't care what the law says. That is Donald Trump. He doesn't care. He wants what he wants, and he wants it now. And he will go to the bureaucracies and give them orders to make something happen that he knows he's not going to be able to get via the legislature. Now, I think, personal opinion, no facts, my filter's off, right? I think because he hasn't changed his character and because he is who he is, right? The lack of his ability, when I say him, the presidency, that chair, to ongoing just go to a bureaucracy and command them to write a new law that Congress wouldn't do, that's gone. That will not be an option for whoever sits in the presidency, whether it's Trump or Biden. It's not going to matter for them. They won't be able to do it. Trump's response is going to be, and this is what's going to be dangerous for him, because I think he's crazy enough to take actions, more than one, that says, I don't care, I want this to happen, you will do it. Which, depending on what it is, will almost certainly end up in him being impeached and convicted a third time. And convicted. In other words, he is so egregious, the lack of Chevron doctrine for a guy like Trump, removing Chevron doctrine from him is such an impact to his arsenal of being able to do stuff that he's going to lose his shit. Right? He's going to lose his shit. And hopefully he has good handlers. Don't know. Right? So that's my assessment, personal opinion, of the impact of the Chevron doctrine and the role of the Supreme Court as a result of that. It's going to be fun times, right? This is Sunday, the 30th of June, and we got until tomorrow. I'm hoping for some, anti-bans on guns and shit to happen, but we'll see. Tomorrow's the last day for the Supreme Court. Then they go on vacation or whatever they do. But those are my thoughts on the role of the Supreme Court and the impact of the removal of the Chevron doctrine from the impact of a President Trump presidency, should that happen. Again, those are my thoughts. I turned the filter off so that I get kind of free flow. I'd love to hear your thoughts to the degree you want to share them with me and other folks. If you have not, please subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get reminded. And as always, wherever you can, whenever you can, however you can, carry on.